In the wake of 2 fatal shootings, ICE directed its officers to halt most traffic stop arrests. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Wednesday, July 15th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. The Trump administration is scrambling to respond to 2 deadly incidents in which immigration officers fired into vehicles. Last week, an ICE officer killed Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, a man from Mexico, during an attempted traffic stop arrest in Houston. Then this week in Maine, another ICE officer shot Johann Sebastian Duran Guerrero, a 25-year-old father from Colombia. He was killed on the block where he lived with his partner and 3-year-old daughter. As more details emerge about the timeline of events, it appears that ICE had been looking for a different person. Independent Maine Senator Angus King spoke about the shooting on MS Now yesterday.
We don't have much in the way of facts except that this fellow was killed driving a car. And there's a lot of law about law enforcement officers shooting into cars. You're not supposed to shoot into a car unless there's imminent threat to yourself or to others. And it was really interesting. DHS issued a statement last night, and they said that the officer perceived that there was a danger to public safety. They didn't say he felt endangered himself. It was a very sort of lawyerly worded statement that didn't really defend what happened.
Yesterday, ICE temporarily instructed officers to refrain from making traffic stop arrests in most cases. Local officials and immigrant rights groups in both Texas and Maine are questioning the government's narrative around the shootings and have called for independent investigations. President Donald Trump backtracked on his threat to impose a shipping toll in the Strait of Hormuz. That's our second story. Yesterday, I told you about Trump's plan to impose a 20% fee on commercial shipping traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. He called it a reimbursement fee in exchange for American protection. Iran has attacked ships trying to cross the waterway throughout the war. But Trump's fee idea spooked markets, alarmed shipping experts, and caused oil prices to hit a 1-month high. So, later in the day, Trump pivoted. In a post on Truth Social, he declared that the strait is, quote, open to all ship traffic except for Iran. A reimposed American blockade of Iranian ships took effect yesterday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. In place of the 20% fee, Trump said the U.S. would instead make trade and investment deals with various Gulf countries. Number 3. President Trump is planning to give a primetime address with allegations about the 2020 election. Trump has still not accepted his election loss to Joe Biden more than 5.5 years ago. He has continued to allege foreign interference despite a lack of evidence. Tomorrow, he appears to be getting ready to make that case again. According to people briefed on his plan, Trump will use findings from re-examined government files to argue that the country's election infrastructure has vulnerabilities. He teased the speech to reporters in the Oval Office yesterday.
It's really, really big news, and our country has to shape up. But that's what we're going to be talking about Thursday is it doesn't get bigger, because without free and fair elections, you don't have a country. We'll be discussing other things too, but it's going to be a very big announcement. Yeah.
According to our sources, the speech will, in part, highlight claims that China accessed U.S. voter data. Trump is also expected to discuss findings related to Venezuela. The plan came after a confidential White House briefing on Monday. That was to review findings from the Trump administration's broad re-examination of old FBI records, including from the 2020 election. Number 4. Paychecks are barely keeping up with inflation. According to new numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, hourly wages in June were, on average, 3.5% higher than they were last June. But inflation also rose at 3.5% across the same time period, undercutting those increases in pay. Americans' buying power did grow a little in June compared to May. Falling gas prices pushed the cost of living down slightly. But prices for basics like milk and beef have climbed steeply this year. And as I mentioned just now, gas prices are going back up as the conflict between the US and Iran resumes. Affordability plays a big role in how people feel about the economy and about their politicians. Several states where workers are falling behind include congressional districts that are considered toss-ups in the upcoming midterm elections, where Republicans are trying to defend their majority in the House. Number 5. The House of Representatives passed Trump's plan to make daylight saving time permanent. In a divided moment in American politics, there was a rare moment of bipartisan agreement in the House yesterday. The Sunshine Protection Act passed the chamber with a wide margin. The bill would place most of the country under daylight saving time and get rid of the twice-yearly clock changes. It's a win for President Trump, who has called for permanent daylight saving time. But not everyone is happy about the possible change. Medical groups have said that year-round daylight saving time does not align with humans' natural circadian rhythms. They say that year-round standard time would be preferable. And lawmakers who represent Midwestern states say it would inconvenience people who live in the center of the country by pushing local sunrises beyond 9 a.m. in the middle of winter. Golf course operators, on the other hand, say that longer evenings would boost business, so they support the policy. And according to polling, only 12% of Americans like the current system anyway. The bill still needs to clear the Senate, where its prospects are more uncertain. Number 6. A looming decision about the Colorado River will affect millions of people. The Colorado River is a crucial water supply for 40 million people across 2 countries, 7 states, and 30 tribes. But the worst drought in at least a millennium and a snowless winter have reduced this year's flow to a trickle. At the same time, old regulations for managing water shortages are set to expire at the end of this year. Now, it falls to a little-known agency in the Interior Department to try and avoid the river's complete collapse. Officials are expected to announce a new strategy this summer. But with governor's races this fall in most of the states affected, it will be very hard to convince local leaders to compromise. The impacts of the reduced water supply could be widespread. If farms in areas like Arizona and California can't get enough water, there may be price hikes across the country. And the river supplies water to 11 national parks and other public land, so water cuts could endanger billions of tourism dollars. And at number 7, an Ivy League professor suspected AI cheating, so he decided to fight back. Last semester, when Roberto Serrano saw the results for the midterm for his advanced mathematical economics class at Brown University, he was shocked. The average score was 96. In the past, it had ranged from the 60s to the 80s. So he suspected foul play. To rectify the problem, he switched the final exam to an in-person one. In response, 27 students dropped his class. 22 of them had gotten a perfect score on the midterm. The average score on the final ended up being 49. It's not all depressing news, though. Serrano said the course still had a very strong group of students. And he said the highest grade on the final was a 95. That student also got a 95 on the midterm, so shout out to you, whoever you are. While Serrano found a solution, many educators are struggling. Universities don't yet know how to handle AI, and students have strong incentives to use it, given that everyone else is. Plus, the rise of tech, like glasses with cameras and normal-looking calculators that are powered by AI, means it's easier than ever for students to cheat. I know there are some teenagers who listen to this show, so take it from me, nothing beats the satisfaction of getting a good result that you worked hard for. Now, I feel very old. All right, you're all caught up. If you listen to this podcast on the Washington Post app using the link from our briefing page, you may have heard a robot yesterday instead of me. Rest assured, I have not been replaced by AI. Not yet, anyway. This is merely a bug in our system, and our engineers are on the case. In the meantime, check us out on the Listen tab of the app or on a podcast platform like Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. Thanks for listening and for your concern. I'm Hannah Jewell. I'll meet you back here tomorrow.